My name is Cory Smith, and this is Farewell Fatty. I'm 25 years old, and I'm on a journey to change my life, to lose weight, and to live longer. It's never easy to admit that you need help or that you've been doing things the wrong way, especially when those things that you've been doing wrong lead to you um, feeling unattractive, unapproachable, um, or any other number of negative things that you can feel about yourself. But this um, process was really born out of that. This is a process for me to change my life, to cut down on fast food eating, to make better decisions about exercise and right diet. This is an opportunity for me to literally extend and add years onto my life instead of making um, choices that are convenient and maybe more desirable that will actually cost me years of my life. I'm a guy who sometime down the line wants to get married, wants to have kids, and when I have kids, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder and wondering, am I going to actually be alive and be there for their big moments? Excuse me, if I have a son, I don't want him to worry about is dad going to be healthy enough to make it to my sporting events or whatever may have you. I don't want my daughter to feel the same thing. I don't want to miss graduations, and I want to be a loving husband who's around for whoever my wife may be one day for a very long time, um, if it's in the cards. But I know that if I want to help my case in that, I have to start making better decisions. Um, I'm 25 years old, and I am in a situation where it is high stress, and having extra weight and bad diet is not doing me any kind of favors. Um, I work as a site lead for an after school program. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, both in music and in graphic media, so videos and pictures. Being an entrepreneur is stressful enough in itself. Leading an after school program is stressful enough in itself, but then you factor in I'm also a volunteer youth pastor, um, working in a relatively large amount of ministry, and there's just a number of other things that go into that that people don't see. It's a high stress um, lifestyle. It's a lot of things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, and to do myself a favor, I would be wise to be healthier, to take on the demands of that lifestyle. Um, but it's a lot easier said than it is done. It's always been hard, a little difficult. Growing up, I was always a bigger kind of kid. Obviously, I was not always as overweight as I am now, but my mom tells me is that I was always a bigger kid, and there was always stresses added to uh, that added to the weight of being a little bit bigger. I had an older brother who I really cherished, and was with me really in a lot of areas of my life. And in most of the social circles that we were a part of, he was viewed and cherished in that same kind of light. He was always more popular, always had more people, at least in my eyes, wanting to look up to him. I was always kind of like the little tag along little brother. Um, and that kind of carried um, its own ramifications for me. I often chose to stay in the house, partially out of selfish reasons, wanting to have the remote control, wanting to be the first one to eat the snacks, those kind of things. But it was also a tremendous weight of knowing that I was not as popular or as wanted or as accepted as my brother was with our social groups. And so I made a conscious effort, in addition to my own desires, to stay away from circles where I really didn't feel wanted. And that's not something that just was limited to me and my brother's circles. I really always felt like an outsider. One of the things that I don't really tell people about a lot is that I was bullied younger. Um, you know, and kids think that people in general really think that, words don't really hurt or carry that much weight. But I remember a lot of the fat jokes, a lot of the names that I was called, a lot of things that people said about me, and that really shaped my self-image. I mean, I would say until about the time that I was like 19 or 20, I really thought that there wasn't any worth in my life unless I could produce a career that would get me a lot of money, because I felt like I was a hideous person. I felt like because of my weight, I wasn't a desirable person in a romantic sense or a friendship sense, in any sense really. I felt like what I brought to the table wasn't worth it unless it was lucrative to everybody else, unless it was going to make everybody else some money or make me a big star. And then maybe when I'm desirable, then I would have a purpose. And I just remember being so hard and so callous. I mean, there was times when I was the most loving kid, but there was so many things that I never talked to anybody about, and they were things that were really hurtful, um, things that I really held inside for years, to the point of struggling with low self-esteem and suicidal thoughts. I mean, of course, that comes with other things that are coupled in this process, but I'm still, to this very day, struggling with defining my self-worth as where I feel it actually should be. So um, it's really hard to do that when the image that you have in your head doesn't match the image that you see of yourself in the mirror. And that image of yourself in the mirror is just so riddled with so much baggage of what people said about you, with how they devalued you. It's just really hard. And so you find peace in things that can't speak to you, in things that don't really care about you, that can't really care about you. You find peace in TV shows and entertainment and food and comfort, like laziness, lounging around. And that never makes anything better, but it makes you feel good for the moment. So you take hold of that and you hold on to it. At least I did. And now I'm just trying to do something different. I would estimate, and I joke about this all the time, but I'm very serious. I would probably estimate that I've shaved a good 5 years off of my life with just the way that I've lived my life to this point. And who knows if this process is going to get it back or not, but I'm trying to make the changes necessary so I don't take any more off my life. It's not about being a supermodel. It's not about looking the best. It's not even about being appealing to any of the people who I wasn't appealing to before. It's about making a change that makes me feel good and that makes me more valuable as a person. You can't be valuable when you're dead, and you're just continuing to lose value when you're choosing a path towards death. So I'm trying to choose something better. Being in a place to be a mentor, leading an after school program, working in ministry, I had to set an example. And to this point, until I started this process, until I started this project, I felt like the example that I was giving off was, you can do some good things, but if you destroy your life, then it's okay. And I'm trying to change that. I don't want that to be the legacy that I'll leave with the people who I have the opportunity to impact. And so this project is not only about changing my life, but hopefully changing lives through the fact that I'm changing my own. Um, for many people, this is Farewell Fatty. It's just a video series. It's just the flavor of the month. It's just something to try. It's just a YouTube project. But this is my life. It's not just Farewell Fatty. It's not just TriDot. It's not just a camera following around and giving you opportunities. It is a process to change my life, to save my life, to actually live my life. And I'm inviting you along on this journey if you're willing to go.